World Arts Academy provides professional development for emerging, practicing, and master dance artists, teachers, administrators, and scholars through advocacy and professional development opportunities that advance dance as a performing art in educational sectors and communities throughout the world. Our faculty teaches diverse dance genres in a variety of environments including, but not limited to, K through 12 schools, dance studios, colleges, and community centers. World Arts Academy envisions dance reimagined, reflective of our differences and supportive of all who dance and teach dance. A world where dance education is equitable, accessible, valued, and preserved. Please visit our website at worldartsacademy.com to see our impressive faculty, view our workshop calendar, enjoy distance learning, or help our mission by becoming a patron.
The Danceology podcast interviews the great masters of dance, the working professionals starring in today's most exciting shows, and the rising stars ready to amp up the craft. I'm your host, Edyta Sliwinska from Dancing with the Stars. Join me as I dive into the world of dance, uncovering unique stories and the fascinating personalities of industry professionals on Danceology. Welcome to the Danceology podcast. I'm your host, Edyta Sliwinska. With me in the studio is my producer, Todd. Our guest today is the one and only Louis van Amstel. I don't think he needs much introduction. He's a legend in the ballroom world and a Dancing with the Stars OG. We discuss what it takes to become a world champion, why nowadays he teaches dance to doctors and lawyers rather than coaching competitive dancers, and about his mission to bring ballroom dancing to the Olympics. I could talk to Louis for hours about dancing, the people we know in the entertainment business, and of course, family. I never thought that out of all the people, I would get a parenting advice from none other than Louis van Amstel. All right, Louis, I have a whole list of questions to you. And your podcast ruined it all to me. I'm kidding, but the truth is that your podcast answered a lot of my questions. And I'm going to do something very unusual here. I'm going to ask my listeners to tune in to your podcast, to the Louis van Amstel podcast. You get very personal. You open up to your viewers. You tell your story in detail. So my first question is, what is the main motivation behind starting your own podcast?
Well, first of all, Edyta, thank you for having me on your podcast and promoting dance and going in depth with many people that you have on your podcast. So thank you for that. Why did I start my podcast? Actually, a New Year's resolution. We know each other for almost 25 years. Yeah. We have worked together before Dancing with the Stars. We've been on Dancing with the Stars together. So we know each other very well. For me, though, I was always either the coach or the protector, the teacher, never really sharing my side of the story. It was always bringing everybody else's side out. Even, you know as well as I do, when we're on Dancing with the Stars, we're trying to get the best out of the celebrities. It's never really about our story. So I felt, you know what, I've been quiet long enough, and believe it or not, I might look very confident. And when I switch on the dance floor, I feel good. I feel at home. But when it comes to personal feelings, I shy away oftentimes. And it was my New Year's resolution. Not only am I going to share my feelings more, I now believe much more in myself, having my company La Blast, helping many people with their health and wellness. It's time that I open my mouth and have what I feel, share it. And I made a deal with myself. I'm going to make it only positive. And if it is negative, it is because I'm sharing stories of my own, things that I've dealt with. But at the end of the day is, what did I do to turn it around? what can another person that listens or watch my podcast or your podcast, I think we're on the same line. Why are we doing this? To help others, to bring
Yes.
positivity in this world. And if people call it cheesy, if people call me a whiner, a crier, because I am, and you can clearly see that in the podcast, but it is to help others, but it's also very therapeutic for me.
Well,
And there you
you know
go.
what? New Year's resolution. Next time you do a New Year's resolution, it's not like, oh, I want to lose 5 pounds. I don't want to eat candy. You know, I'm going to drink less. No, like turn around your life and start being positive and open up. Yeah, that's really amazing.
And to the point, what you just say, Edyta, 99% of the people, their New Year's resolution is weight loss. I am in the fitness industry now for 13 years. And my goal is to help people that when it comes to January, they can finally have another New Year's resolution, and weight loss doesn't have to be one because they take care of their bodies, their physical body, their mental, their emotional bodies year round. So let's
So
hope for
listen,
that together.
this was actually one of my questions a little bit later, but since we are talking about it, you are in ballroom and in dance, not only ballroom, your whole life. Is that why you switched to fitness? Was it the idea of helping people feel better about their bodies? What was the main
So,
motivation?
well, for one, Lisa Rinna, my partner from season 2, dragged me into it. So really, she was the reason why I started a class. That was all her credit. I just made the class. But looking back, having a career in ballroom dance, having achieved what I wanted to achieve, dream come true, then moving to the United States and then becoming a coach. And I can proudly say you and Alec were one of the couples,
Oh,
and
yeah,
I
we're going to talk about it.
I enjoyed that time so much. So I'm glad we're going to talk about that later. So for all these years, first, when I was 10 to 14, dance was social purposes. It was therapeutic because I didn't have to do what was going on at home. I could do it through the power of dance. I didn't have to talk about it. So it was kind of therapeutic. Then I smelled winning competitions. I loved it. Can't deny it. Loved it. Then the narcissism happens. It's you and your partner against the world. And then you try to be a world champion. So you're trying to do what no one else can do, and the judges put you first because of it. So that is the goal for years. Then I guess it changed for me going on Dancing with the Stars. Now it is we help our celebrity bring the best out of themselves. We try to get them to that final. We're trying to get them to help them change their lives if that was needed. Now, 2010, I started Le Blast. Now I have exactly the opposite goal. Instead of doing something that no one else can do something that everyone can do. So I literally made a 180. And then when the stories come in from your students, now from my master trainers, the instructors, the stories from the instructors members, it's like paying it forward. When they come back with the stories, how Le Blast, ballroom dancing partner free fitness, has changed their lives, then I know I did my job. And as a dancer, making dance available to anyone in any community center, a gym, or a dance studio, whether that's a performing arts studio or a ballroom dance studio, it doesn't matter. Now my goal is to bring dance to the masses and help them with their mental and emotional health.
Well, you know, it's very interesting because you had an amazing career, right? You were a world champion, you were a US champion, and then the normal path in the ballroom world is to become a coach. You transition completely out of it. Would you ever consider going back to coaching?
I don't promote it, but I never left. I actually
Oh,
travel a lot across the country to teach private lessons, ballroom dancing. Oh
why
no,
not promote it?
I never stopped. But what is the difference? I am done with competitive couples that how I start with a new couple or with a couple. What are your goals? What would you like? Okay, everyone wants to be national champion, world champion. Okay, so I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So then I put out a kind of a program, and within 2 weeks I can see, okay, they're not putting their money where their mouths are. And then the fighting, then he did, she did, he did it, because of him I can do. And then if they don't listen to the coach, me at this point, I'm done. So I am teaching a lot of pro-am students with their professionals, and I enjoy that so much. Why? Because many of these pro-am students, they are amateurs. They don't do this to make a living. They do it because it's therapy for them. It is a way to express themselves, and they happen to have the money to do it. So I'm working with engineers, architects, hugely successful realtors. I actually can talk dance in an intellectual manner, and they eat it up and they want more of it. So I teach a lot, but competitive couples, no.
That is so interesting, because I will be interviewing competitive couples, and I want people to get a perspective and the set of mind that people have when they compete. I bet you are a different person when you were competing. I was a completely different person. So this is very interesting. And I totally, absolutely get it, how you transition and how your mindset is different. And of course, dancing speaks to intelligent people. Dancing it takes intelligence to train your body to do what we do. There's no question
Absolutely.
about it.
Absolutely. And also there are exceptions to the rules. There might be a lot of couples still out there that really want to put in the work. And in those couples' defense, our industry has become so political.
So difficult to make it.
Yes, if you have the artist couples that really are about the art of dance, they won't make it because they don't have the mental stamina to fight the political institution that we have. And I am now, and call me a narcissist, I am traveling to the areas where Le Blast is growing. That's where I teach at dance studios, and that's where we grow Le Blast. Those studios have Le Blast, so we're in that circle. And maybe when Le Blast is in a place where it doesn't need me anymore, so I can just do what I want to do, then I might push and say we got to stop these politics, because ultimately this is our industry.
All right, Louis,
grew up in this industry.
I have a challenge for you.
Okay.
Find a couple, train them, prove them all wrong. Dancing will always win. How about that? Make them world champions.
So it's funny that you bring that up. I actually had that attitude for about 10 years. But as of now, I couldn't find one couple to do that. And there's another side. I don't promote me as a coach, and I know my value as a coach, and I kind of have a smirk on my face about it. If you don't know how to find me, you don't want it. And I kind of, and maybe that sounds really arrogant. I don't mean it that way, but also being a parent, I have 2 kids, I have 3 dogs, I have an amazing company, and it takes a lot of time to become a world-known company. It just takes a lot. So I'm putting the energy right now there. And I don't know if one of your questions is the Special Olympics, where I'm the dance ambassador. That's another avenue that I'm really active in.
It's not, so you can tell us about it.
Oh, so in 2015, dance sports was becoming the first demonstration sport. 2015 Summer Games, the Olympic Winter Games here in Los Angeles, 2015. I get a text message from Nigel Lithgow at 1 a.m. in the morning asking me if I would judge this demonstration ballroom dance sport for the Special Olympics. I said, of course, no one says no to Nigel Lithgow. So, and neither did Paul Abdul, Apollo Ono, Twitch, Allison Holker. We all judged, and we fell in love. So then the organizer asked me if I want to get involved. I became the dance ambassador. Then 2017 Winter World Games for the Special Olympics in Austria, dance again was a demonstration sport. Then Abu Dhabi, the World Games in Abu Dhabi 2019. Again, ballroom or dance sport was yet again a demonstration sport. Between 2015 and 2019, Pierre Geider and I and a few other people worked very hard to work with Special Olympics International, with the WDSF, which is our World Dance Sport Federation, to work towards making it a sport. Well, 2019, at the end of the competition, Tim Shriver, who is he's not the president, but his mother started the Special Olympics many years ago, announced dance as a sport. So now dance is an official sport, and next year, 2025, during the Winter Olympic World Games in Turin, Italy, dance sport will be official. Our athletes, our dancers will walk the opening ceremony. They get the official medal ceremony and closing ceremony. So even though dance sport still hasn't made it to the Olympic Games, Special Olympics for people with Down syndrome or autism, with an intellectual disability, can now officially participate at or qualify for the World Games. And I'm their proud dance ambassador.
That is amazing, and big congratulations. But tell me, how, I want to know more about that experience. How was it judging it? How does it work? How was it emotionally to see people with disabilities doing what we love to do?
I'm going to try, and I have to not remember too much. Well, remember, I'm going to get sentimental. So in 2015, when we all sat there, it was a roller coaster of emotion. For one, we had no idea what to expect. So we laughed, we cried, we were worried, we laughed again, we cried. I mean, it is so wonderful to see that even though we call these people, these athletes, disabled, it's so amazing to support athletes that are not focusing on the disability. They're focusing on what they can do. We're focusing on their ability. And that's the whole mission of Special Olympics International. We're not, disability, what? No. We're giving them opportunities so they can be healthier. They can live longer lives. We had in 2017, the Kainos group in the Bay Area, not too far from where you are, I believe. They are an organization that are raising money and awareness for people that are becoming senior with Down syndrome. That's so brand new from the last 10 years, because normally the lifespan of someone with Down syndrome is not senior status. Right. So they are raising money. So they have a whole house with seniors. And we had a team go to Austria, and the oldest one was 50 years old. It's amazing.
It is amazing to see how dancing can have application and can help so many people with fitness, with disabilities, express yourself. I'm all up for it, and I would love to see it. I can't wait to see it. So I'm really
okay. Well, since I am the dance ambassador, I have a little pool. I can't make final decisions, but if they're looking for a judge,
please put a word. I would love to be a part of it.
Okay, well, we will talk about this privately, but it is so exciting to see that it took us 4 years from the first demonstration sport, and by the third time in Abu Dhabi 2019, boom, we're an official sport. So we're actually building the programming, and to go to the World Games next year is just, it's thrilling.
Yeah, and what do you think about the chances for... I went dark for a minute. What do you think about the chances for the actual Olympics, for dance to be part of it?
So that's a loaded question, but I'm going to try and do it very short. That has always been a goal of mine, but I keep it under the radar.
About it.
Yes, well, I've kept it under the radar for so long. So I'm not surprised when earlier you said, oh yeah, you completely left coaching and all that. No, I haven't. I'm just doing it under the radar because, so here's perspective. When we were all competing in 1997 in Miami, it was announced that dance sport was now going to be officially part of the the Olympics. Now it would be on a list of demonstration sports, and when our industry could work out certain details, requirements, then it would become a demonstration sport. 1997. We are now 2024. They could not get their act together, and I believe because there were too many cooks in the kitchen. Now, I've produced, I have done programming, and I've learned pretty young in life, the more people involved, the slower the process. So when it came to Pierre Geider, asking me to become involved, it was the two of us. We wrote the manual, we had numerous calls, and we worked together, and within 4 years, and maybe a few people that I brought in or he brought in to help with certain aspects, and 4 years later, we're an official sport. We're nowhere close to being a fully integrated sport.
But it's a first step.
Sorry?
And then it got all screwed up.
Yes.
It's a human nature.
Yeah.
The politics of the dance, the organization, the people could not agree on what form or what shape. And it's, what do you say, 97? So there you go, 20, almost 5, 6, 7 years later, we are nowhere.
It is, and to me,
shame.
All the people on any of the boards of any of our organization, whether it's the NDCA, WDSF, IDO, WDO, I don't care if my friends are in any of these organizations, they should all be ashamed that they are not thinking of the younger generation dancers that would love to have a chance to go to the Olympic Games. Can you imagine how their lives would change? The media attention that we get, the sponsorships, they can have the same experience as any Olympian. And I've looked for years at figure skating, at gymnastics, who are the number one respective sports that are being watched during the summer or winter Olympics. Dance sports would be the same because it's an emotional sport as well as physical and mental. And everyone should be ashamed that has a part in stopping us from going to the Olympics. How I see it, Edyta, is if the IOC requires one union, which is one of the requirements, instead of having 3, we need 1. It doesn't matter. Those 3 boards should get in a room and don't get out of that room until you have 1 board and egos stay at the door. It's not about you. It's not about your pocket. It's not about your competition. It's about the younger generation. And I will do whatever it takes, even though now the cat's out of the hat, that I'm under the radar. I am very, very not under the radar when it comes to me contributing if we can ever get to the Olympic Games. And here's the fun part. I live in Utah. I love Utah. The World Games are going to be in Utah in 2034. That's 10 years from now.
It's not that far away. It's not that far away. We know it at this point of our life. Well, listen, I think it's people being afraid of change. It's people egos that do not allow them to compromise on certain issues. It's definitely a shame. And I hope you succeed in your quest, because I think it would change the whole industry. And I think that ballroom dancing can be so attractive to the wide audience. People, as you said, with gymnastics and ice skating, I think ballroom dancing, just as a premise of it, is a lot more exciting. And Dancing with the Stars proved it. It's season 35, I think, right now.
33.
33. Okay, getting close.
It's you are so right, and I am anticipating. So we have dance, we have world championships, we have dancing on TV, ballroom dancing on TV with Dancing with the Stars, not just in the United States. Over 30 countries have their own Dancing with the Stars, and I believe over 10 countries actually broadcast the American version of Dancing with the Stars. I am personally working to bring ballroom dancing into the fitness facilities. And I have another 10 years before the Olympics will be here. And I cannot guarantee if it will happen, but I sure am going to push. And maybe I should do this privately with you. But
Let's get
anyway,
clarity about it.
I don't care
Absolutely.
if people want to block me from doing that, I'm going to shame them. So I actually, at this point, I bring you all on. Try to block me from try and open doors to young dancers to get dance to be at the Olympic Games. Try and stop me. See what happens.
Well, there it
Ooh.
is. You guys, watch out. Louis on the mission for the Olympics. Well, listen, let's switch gears a little bit. I wanted to talk a little bit about your career because you were sort of a revolutionary in a ballroom world. I remember the first time I saw you, your style was completely different than anything else I saw ever. And now listening to your podcast, I understand you did all these different styles of dance, which we never did. You did jazz and ballet. So tell me, first of all, which one was first, ballroom or like ballet and jazz? And how was your approach different than the traditional approach to ballroom dancing when you were competing? And do you think that it is essential right now to know all these different styles of dance for the dancers that train, whether ballroom dancers or any other style of dancers?
Well, this is kind of 5 questions in one. Let's
I know.
No, I love it. I love it because I love your questioning. It gives me an opportunity to go deeper and in depth. And you kind of are reminding me, yeah, why was it? Or what was first? So it's actually only by 3 months that I started jazz before I started ballroom. So we're in those years, my parents had a caravan that they put at a camp spot for pretty much the entire year. It was only 15 minutes from our home. But it was lovely. On a Friday, we would go there and then we go back on Sunday, back to school or back to work. And then during the summer vacation, I would be there for 6 weeks straight. It's in nature and there's a swimming pool and we're also connected to the dunes towards the ocean. So it was a great location. So the summer activities were learn to dance. And at the end of the camping season, there would be a big show and then we show our talents. Well, I did jazz. And then my parents saw, oh, he is good at it. Oh, he seemed to like it. Well, let's do some more. And since my grandparents were ballroom dancers, there was a dance studio 10 minutes from our home in the different direction from the camping that were friends of my grandparents. So I went to Amsterdam for jazz, tap, ballet, and all sorts. And I went to my hometown, or 10 minutes from my hometown, where I started ballroom dancing. So from the age of 10, I did everything simultaneously, pretty much until I started my international dance career, which was at 15, 16. So only then did I make ballroom dance a priority. And so to the next question, should the new generation of ballroom dancers in dance sports do all forms of dance? And I say, heck yes. And so just to go to, I'm bringing it back to why. So in 2001, I finally said yes to Kim Del Grosso after 5 years of her asking me, please come to Center Stage in Orem, Utah to teach my kids in our studio, because you and your partner, Julie Fryer, have always done all forms of dance. 5 years later, I said, let me go to Utah. I don't know what the heck is going on there, but let me go. And oh my gosh, did I pull my hair out? Why did I take 5 years to say yes to go to this studio? And I was in heaven because all these dancers were very good at ballroom and even better at the other forms of dance. They did 4 dance forms. What was great about moving to Utah is that all these dancers do all forms of dance. I can talk that terminology, the verbiage, I can cross over. because that's what I did when I had my dance career. And now working with all these dancers that are so well rounded. Now, many of those dancers that were 6 and 7 years old are now pros on Dancing with the Stars.
Yes.
And you
We want
mentioned,
names. We want names. Lindsay, like
okay,
Whitney, then Kim.
Lindsay, Whitney, Chelsea Hightower,
Yeah.
Brandon, James Tualeva, who was not on Dance with the Stars, you want So You Think You Can Dance, and Ezra. Oh my gosh, Ezra, who was never really a pro on the show, but he is a fantastic dancer. He was on the troupe, and if one deserves to be a pro on the show, it's Ezra. He has a heart of gold, very talented, and you see. So there was another question earlier: should the ballroom dancers have all these other forms of dance? Yes, because it makes you a very well-rounded dancer. And here's another point: how many, and maybe you've had the same, how many ballroom dancers have contacted me, how they want to get on Dancer with the Stars and how I can help them? They won't get on because Dancer with the Stars, the producers are spoiled. The dancers they have right now are so well-rounded. Any choreographer that throws choreography at them, they might not be the best at hip-hop, but they are well-rounded enough to put on a good show. Should it be more ballroom? Absolutely. I'm still a stickler. Let people do what they're best at. Not what they're good at, what they're best at. But still, these dancers now, I'm proud of all of them because they still represent our industry very well as very well-rounded dancers.
I agree. Phenomenal. A little bit different from our competitive ballroom world, but it's a TV show. And for entertainment, I think it's necessary.
Well, I think, Edyta, part of your question was should our ballroom dance industry dancers also be well-rounded? Yes. So if you don't want to go on TV and you just want to be a world champion, if you look right now, everyone looks the same. All the dancers look the same. All the dancers look the same. So how do you stand out? You have to be you. You have to be individual. How do you become individual? Find something that no one else can do. Don't just do what everyone else is doing, because everyone is great right now, but no one stands out. And to me, why did we stand out in the early 90s? Because we were different. We were us. We had our own style. No one else did.
You surely did. And you did with other partners as well, which we will talk about in a minute. But it's only what you want to share with us. But
anything.
Speaking about dancing in your career, tell our viewers and dancers in particular, Louis, what it takes to become a world champion.
Oh, my first gut instinct, boom, you need to have some calluses on your soul. You need to expect that doors will slam in your face. You will have people that do that to you. And it's how you deal with that. It's actually, quite honestly, what I'm dealing with one of my sons with right now. It's how do you react when you're being bullied? How do you deal with someone saying no to you? How do you deal with that? It's not fight fire with fire. And if you look back at our dancers, I'm sorry to say, but our new generation doesn't know what work means. They want quick results. They want shortcuts. And if you want to be a world champion that can be proud of the work they have done, there are no shortcuts. You have to do everything. You have to set a goal and you have to put in the work. I remember, and I'm not an angel, I was blessed with a mentor coach like Ruud Vermeij, which is one of, in my opinion, the best coach, mentor, the best thing that ever happened to our industry. And we happen to be in the right place at the right time with him. I owe everything to that man, But coming back to our schedule, 5 days a week, 4 hours a day on that floor. And you practice. And then we went to the gym before that to work on our stamina, on weight training, and all that. And since we did that, our result went from here to here very fast. And it really is putting in the work and not shortcuts. And this is a problem right now in our industry. People don't want to put in the work. So therefore, it's very hard to be a world champion. And if you right now are the world champions based on the work of the dancers or the manipulation of the coaches?
Yeah.
That also judge.
Exactly. I've talked about it in several of my interviews about the conflict of coaches being judges and the conflict of interest. But you guys, if you out there trying to make it, thick skin, work ethic, and being able to deal with adversity. Would you say that's pretty much correct?
Yes. I would like to give you a very positive example of a couple in Charlotte, North Carolina. I've only worked with them once, and they were working with some people, but they're 16 and 17, and they also happen to be a Black couple. And I want to say this out loud because these two are world championship material, and we never had a world champion of a full-on Black African-American couple. And it doesn't matter where they're from and what color you really are, it doesn't matter. But I want to state that this couple has it. And what did I say to them? Find a small team, small. That's the operative word, small team of people that you trust. And put on blinders and don't listen to too many people. Because one, I believe what made me world champion, that I stopped listening to very good advice of a wide range of people. It made me confused. I doubted myself. And the moment I did that and say, I listened to the small group of people that I believe in, and now I'm going to stay in my lane. So don't listen to too many people. Calluses on your soul and stay in your lane.
I remember when we were coaching with you, you do have it in the genes, but that's just part of it. The work is always what makes you. I do have a question about your partners. We started talking about it. So you dance with some really amazing females, Julie Pryor, but then Joanna Lewiness and Karina Smirnov. So I know this is a cheesy question, but tell me, which one was your favorite partner? And also a question from the audience, from Dancing with the Stars. Who was your favorite partner on Dancing with the Stars?
Kelly Osbourne.
Oh, of course. I heard it on your interview.
And may I add to that it's not at the expense of my other celebrities. It has to do with that journey. Those 3 months changed Kelly's life. It changed my life. And together, we affected so many people that watched that season. And to me, that is why I call that my favorite season. However, that season after, I had Niecy Nash. Oh my gosh. I have never laughed so hard and had such an amazing season with Niecy Nash and Sabrina Bryan, the All-Star season. We've had some moments that I will take with me that are so heartfelt and amazing. Just to say that Rumba in week 6, the heart she put in there. I mean, and then Priscilla Presley, of all my celebrities, I see Priscilla the most of all my celebrities. So I have had amazing women, absolutely. And Lisa Rinna became best friends. So, but the journey with Kelly.
What about your professional partners? Don't skip the beginning of my question.
Okay. Who was my favorite partner? Well, it really, I can't really say favorite partner, but I can say most successful partner, Julie Fryer. But the facts say that. 3-time world champion, 2 times as amateur, 1 time pro show dance. So we've had, in the beginning, being coached by Ruud Vermeij, who went to the Le Bon University in London. And as he went to university, we were pretty much his guinea pigs. He was testing all that he learned on us, because we were, and this talk about nerves, we had to go to London. We were Ruud Vermeij's exam. We were his exam. Oh my gosh, talk about pressure and not wanting to screw up that one. So that whole experience from the age of 17 and world champion 5-6 years later, that is just, I mean, I can't deny that. And Julie and I had an amazing relationship. Oh, we could fight like cats and dogs, but that's how real it was and how great it was. Then I moved to the United States, and in 1999, Karina Smirnoff and I started dancing. And I must say, it is right up there, especially that first 6 months when we got together and we go out there in a big international competition. And right away, judges said, keep going, because within less than 2 years, you guys could be the next world professional champion. Something happened, and it doesn't really matter. We just had, after that first 6 months, we had different opinions of how we want to reach that goal. And we tried to make it work, but ultimately it didn't work out. And that's when I started dancing with Joanna. I'm leaving out details, but they're not necessarily important. But what is fun to know, a little juicy, Karina and I competed. Joanna Lunis was competed with Slavik Kriklevi. They became world champion amateur in 2000, 2 days after Karina and I became national champion, in the same building, in the same week. Karina was dating Slavik. So Karina was dating Slavik. Slavik was dancing with Joanna. They broke up 3 weeks after the world championships. And Karina and I, we had a bad moment and we split up. And then I started dancing with Joanna. And a month later, Slavik and Karina decided to dance. And we competed against each other at Blackpool, I think 4 or 5 months later. Slavik and Karina made the final. Joanna and I did not. Was I pissed off? Because I was the one that made the decision to leave Karina for Joanna. And part of the reason was Joanna grew up in the same style of dance with the same coach as me. So on paper, that was a partnership made in heaven on paper.
Yes.
Now, to give people a backstory, what not many know, Joanna knows, when I still lived in Europe and Joanna was 14, 15, I was one of Joanna's coaches.
Aww.
Then when I moved to the United States, I pretty much told her, there's only one way, Ruud Vermeij. And that's when Joanna became part of the Ruud Vermeij family, and the rest is history there. So coming back to that Blackpool, of course, Ruud was there and used to be Slavik's coach as well. So he saw something in me, and maybe 2 weeks after Blackpool, which is our open our open world championships, anyone can compete there at that time. So we go back, we're in a lesson, and Ruud pulls me aside and said, I need to ask you a question. You're not in it anymore. And the moment he said it, I started bawling, because he called something out in me that I guess I had felt, but didn't consciously know about myself. But when he brought it out, I realized I was no longer in it. I have had 3 world championship titles. I had a fantastic year and a half with Karina, even though the last few months weren't that great because of our differences of opinion. Then I start with Joanna, and I'm thinking every single time to start again. I know what it takes to be a champion. So I also know if you start anew, how
You
much
know
it
how
takes
long it takes. Yeah.
again. And my heart was just not in it anymore. Now, looking back now, I knew why. It wasn't just the competitive side. I had just, because I at that time lived in the United States, in New York City, I had just signed a contract with one of the Broadway theaters, City Center, to do a Broadway show.
You had your eyes on something else, of course.
I had my eyes on something else, and it was no longer about winning. I had done it. I felt great, but I knew that Joanna, however, who was the youngest world champion in 2000, was not done. And Ruth saw it. And instead of her just convincing her to break up with me so that she can have another pro partner that wants to start a whole new career, he came to me. And I'll respect him for it like you have no words for it. He always has done everything the right way. And I made that choice that I need to set her free. I mean, it sounds so gosh.
Well,
I needed to do that. And I focused on my Broadway show.
which I also want to talk about, but there's so many things I want to talk about. Louis, this is incredible. But I do want to get a little bit personal first. Do you mind?
No problem. With you,
Wow.
anytime. I've always respected and loved you for who you are. You have never, ever changed, even though I know the dynamic on the dance floor with your loving husband.
Oh my goodness. Well, Louis, you can, I don't, I'm the same person, but I will tell you this. On the dance floor, I turn into a little a bee person. All right. Well, let's get back to you. This one's about you. This is something that answer as honestly as you can, as you want. So listen, I know how you started dancing. And you even mentioned that in this interview that when the first years of your dancing was a bit of an escape from reality, that you were escaping something that was going on at your home. So first of all, share or not, what was going on in your home? And I think this can relate to a lot of young people today, except that they escape to video games and their phones, social media. So, Louis, what were you running from, and what advice would you give to young people that are dealing with similar issues today?
And to your point, before I get into this, it's not just for the younger generation that were on my side. It's also for parents and grandparents who listen to your podcast or our podcasts.
Oh, absolutely.
How to deal with can learn from the other side. And it was really the dynamic between my parents. It was, I don't have to go into detail because that is their story, but it was a very bad marriage with not much love. There was a lot of success because my parents owned a factory. There was money. So luckily, there was that, and they used it for my dancing. And dancing was my therapy. So in hindsight, I'm kind of grateful that at least they did that. But because my parents were having so many issues between the two of them, there was alcohol involved, lots of alcohol involved. And once people are drunk, many have no filter. And neither of my parents have a filter, and they can go at it. So from the age of 4 is where I have my first memory, or from 4 backwards, that I know have seen things happen. So you become worried, you get anxiety. it becomes your new normal. You don't want to talk about it because, oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed. I don't want to tell people what's going on because we had a very successful family. No one knew. Nope. Unless I would share. So I didn't. And then once I started dancing, subconsciously, as a 10 and an 11-year-old, you don't know that you do it consciously. But I guess I put so much effort into the dancing that was recognized as, oh my gosh, you have talent. I'm not even sure if it was talent or just the willingness to get away from. So I dove into dance and I became a very assertive dancer. Some might call it flamboyant. Some might call it very, very on point. So this message is actually what I told my mother after their 25th anniversary, about 3 weeks. My mom told me that she wanted to divorce my father, and she was not prepared for my answer. She thought, and of course this is in a conversation afterwards, that I was going to cry and scream, no, you can't, da-da-da. And I said, why did it take you so long? And she was, what? And here is my message to any parent, any person on whatever side. If you are unhappy, don't you think that you can cover it up, that your kids, your grandkids, or your family members, friends won't notice? It was hell to see it happen all these years. I don't know. Would those years have been better if they would have divorced and I would have had 2 sets of parents in the future? We will never know. But to parents, it's not worth it to stay in a marriage if you know you're unhappy because you think you're saving the kids. You are sorely mistaken, because I am the first-hand experience of that. I was never hit. I was never abused. I was a witness to my parents go at it with each other for years, and alcohol was the issue. My father passed away in 2008. My mom is still with me. She actually just left for Europe, so she is here most of the time being grandma and helping. We have had our issues, and my mom hates it every single time I talk about it. But I said, Mom, you and I are still here. We're working through this. But unfortunately, in all truth, I have to talk about it. And then you and I will talk about it. And she hates it. She wishes she could turn back the clock and do things differently. I said, Mom, you have nothing to be guilty about, because you did everything you can. And this is another thing. Kids, do not blame your parents if they hang in there, because my mom's side of the story is, I wanted you to be on your own feet. I wanted you to make your own money before I made the decision to choose me. Now, so she sacrificed many years, her happiness. So I will talk about it because I need to. It's for my own sanity. It's for my own kids that I can talk about this so that I can be better and I can learn from whatever I saw from my parents that I don't want for my kids. And we're getting through it. My mom is 76, kicking ass. And I mean, she has issues with arthritis, so she's in pain. That's why she's in Europe taking care of it. She's probably going to have a big surgery, but we're working through it. Unfortunately, my father passed away. We never had a chance to go through it together. But that's a whole different podcast. There are many other things that are part of that. But I really hope that from both sides, parents, when see this, don't think for one moment that kids don't feel that there's something wrong, because we do. We don't know why, but we know that something is off. And it doesn't make us happy, because what we do, we go introvert, we get anxiety. And I will say, Luckily, because of dance, I never had suicidal thoughts. But if I didn't have dance, I don't know if I would. And this is probably why I'm the #1 fan of dance as therapy, as dance as art, and dance as sport.
Dance
We need
and
it.
dance and other forms of movement, sport, and art. Well, first of all, I'm sorry about your father. Um, I'm sorry you never got the chance to reconcile. I
May,
met your
may I
mom.
just may I just share one thing? You and Alec and I, we were on tour when we had a 1 day off in St. Louis. I actually flew to Amsterdam during our summer tour to go to the funeral. And we were all in the same bus.
Oh my goodness. Well, listen, it's so hard to remember all these moments,
I
but
know.
I did meet your mom many times, and she's an amazing and wonderful woman. Now, obviously, what's happening in a household when the parents are not happy together, it affects the child's idea about the relationship. Do you think it affected your outlook on relationships in your life for um, for the future? I know you're divorced right now. Do you think it played a role at all?
Well, not in my personal divorce because I never made the decision. I
Oh,
didn't think we had done everything to find out is this a salvageable marriage or not. So I couldn't control. It was Josh that made that decision. But going back to if you're surrounded by alcoholism, smoking 3 packets of cigarettes every day, all that, I would have been a drug addict if I became that. So we always have a choice. We can choose to not want anything with what happened to us. Or, well,
we
and
can follow the
this is,
path.
you become your parents. That is, if you don't open your eyes and put in the work, we're coming back to putting in the work. I put in the work that I didn't want to become like my parents. So I didn't have my first drink until I was 28 here in Utah. And that's when I had to come to terms. I wasn't honest with myself. I wasn't drinking alcohol because of my parents. And I had to come to terms with me that, hey, wait a minute. If I want to have a glass of alcohol or two, or even if I want to get drunk, if I do it because it makes me happy in that moment and the circumstances so dictate, or we're just having a great time and I don't misbehave or drive under influence or any of that, I realized, and most of my friends say, you might concur, I am funnier when I'm drunk. I turn
Aren't most
into
of us are funnier?
I become a funny drunk because I'm such a lightweight. And okay, so I don't feel bad, but it took to 28 for me to say, no, 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 I'm not drinking for the wrong reasons. Now, is alcohol great? No, it's not good for your body if you do it more than, everything in
Once in a
moderation
while.
is okay. There's nothing wrong with drinking alcohol. It's just how much, and do it in moderation,
Of course. Well, listen, first of all, I love that you had your first drink in Utah, out of all the
right?
places. And I think your reaction of avoiding alcohol for so long, it's very natural. My mother comes from a family of alcoholics, and she hates being in an environment when there's a lot of alcohol. She doesn't, it took her a while as well, but I think it's very natural. I think overcoming it takes time. And I think talking to your mom and just dealing with these issues and probably even doing your podcast, it's very therapeutic. So I commend you for
Yes.
that. So listen, you are a father
Thank you.
now. Did
Yes.
you always wanted to have family? I listened to your podcast, but what really motivated you to adopt your boys? Um, tell me about your family and what kind of father you are.
Yeah. So I've always wanted to be a father. When I lived in Europe, I wanted to be a father, and I even tried um, in Holland, but it didn't work out. I'm not going to give you the details because it's a funny story. With my best friend, female best friend, we tried to conceive the natural way. Could do it once, never did again. TMI, moving on. So it just gives you perspective how much I wanted a child. If I was willing to do that as an openly gay man with my best friend. Anyway, if we went to the doctor, and the doctor said, well, I commend you for wanting a child out of friendship, not for necessity. Anyway, it just gives you perspective. I wanted children. Then I moved to the United States, and then, living in New York, then doing the Broadway show in 2002, then joining Dancing with the Stars. I just thought, okay, I guess that ship sailed. Then when I met Josh and he moved in, before he moved in, he said, I want two things that are deal breakers for me. I want to get married. I want to have kids. And I thought, okay, well, I guess if you want that so badly, it just...
I'm not going to say no.
I'm not going to say no, because deep inside I always wanted kids, but I just thought, well, it's not going to happen. So when he brought it up, I thought, well, why not? So then after we got married, we thought, okay, where do we want to raise kids? Utah, not West Hollywood, California. So that's why we moved in 2016 to Utah. Then we got married there in 2017 at Sundance, and Sundance were a winter wedding. And that's when we started talking about adoption. The time is right. We got married. Now let's look at kids. And then I think this was off and on like a 2-year conversation, back and forth. We dropped it. We brought it up again on how many, gender, how old, from where. So all these questions we did, and I believe we did it the right way. We didn't just jump on it. We talked about it, and we talked about it in depth. So we have a 17-year gap between us.
Mm-hmm.
So in choosing age, well, I'm 17 years older. If we go for a really young, between 0 and 3, then by the time the kid is 16, I'm actually grandpa status. So
I think you are come on, you're exaggerating. You're Louis van Amstel. I can see you jumping and kicking and doing your blast classes at the age of 70 and 80. 70 and 80 right now, it's not the same.
I appreciate you.
But I understand.
For me, it was a variable. And then if we were to go for 11, 12, then Josh would have been 18, 17, 18, so really young. So then we decided, okay, let's go between 3 and 10. And first we wanted to have 3 kids, 2 brothers and a younger sister. And to find that in the foster care system, we were looking for a needle in a haystack. And then we decided, let's go one at a time. And that's when we had a lot more options. And even though originally we thought 3 to 5, a little older, but not necessarily really old. But then when we saw these pictures and we saw Daniel's thumbnail picture, oh my gosh, we just knew. We stopped and we knew that's our son. And
so
we committed.
Are your boys biological brothers?
No, they're not.
Okay.
No. So Daniel, we adopted in 2019, and Johnny, we adopted in 2020. Daniel is from Colorado, and Johnny is from Nevada, Las Vegas. So yeah, and this is also the law. If you choose to adopt one child, then you have to finish the entire process until you go to court,
adopting another one,
before you can adopt the second one, because they want to make sure that you are ready for this, because you are now an instant parent. When you have a baby or a 6-month-old,
you grow with it. You learn.
Grow step by step. We were not in control over the first 10 years of parenting, of the first words and what's right, what's wrong, how to eat properly with fork and knife, how to place it, manners, private space, and social cues. None of it.
All the things.
So neither kids had much of it. So we had to really catch up because we adopted older kids. But let me tell you, whether you adopt a baby or a 10-year-old or a 14-year-old, the moment you make that decision in your heart, that child is yours, and do not screw with my child because I will hang you. metaphorically speaking.
Well, so what kind of father are you?
I'd like to believe that I found the balance as a coach to be very strict but kind. I believe you need to support, but you also have to have rules. And then you have to build consistency. So that work ethic from being a competitive dancer, I must say, has really helped me as a parent, that I can have patience. Even though I'm about to strangle my boys, you can hold it in because you have the patience to be kind, but no means no. And I will sit down and motivate, keep my voice calm as I can. Is that always successful? Absolutely not. And then I have to reel myself in because I lost my cool. But strict but kind.
That's
I mean,
that is the best combination, in my opinion, as well when it comes to children.
and if I may add, thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. May I just? I kind of worked backwards when I became a parent. What's the ideal parent, in my opinion? Someone that is strict, but kind at the same time. So in kind, meaning if I disagree with my kid or my kid did wrong, I'm not going to tell him, you did wrong, here's your consequence. No. Please tell me what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I want them to talk. I want to validate their feelings. And then I can say, okay, I heard you. And I even appreciate you telling me your truth. But here's the other side. And here's what you did wrong. So let's discuss. What's going to be the consequence?
Yeah, consequences, boundaries, absolutely.
And if they do, they get used to it. And it's also a certain discipline that they realize, oh, wait a minute, I can't just do at the expense of someone else. No. You're going to learn from this. So next time, you might make the same mistake again, but it's in much lesser proportion. And then a few times, you don't make this mistake again. But we have to allow our kids to make mistakes. We have to.
Right.
It just, and now I can't take full credit. The process of becoming a foster parent is brilliant. The foster care system is absolutely broken, but the training we gained from the professors.
You mentioned that, yes.
It is wonderful. I would say anyone pregnant in 9 months, that family, both have to do that training. Why?
You mentioned it's an 8-week training. Some of it you can do online.
No.
What was your biggest takeaway from the training to become a parent?
What I just said. Consequence, but be kind.
So that's something that you actually learn in the training from foster care.
Yes. Now, afterwards, we did TBRI training, which is not part of the course, but you can volunteer to be part of. We did that too. And it kind of confirmed that I was already that kind of parent. I am, maybe if you mix the European style of parenting with the American style of parenting, you get the kind, but consistent and strict. It's I learned so much from that, and I recommend anyone, even if you're not wanting to be a foster parent, sign up for it anyway, because you become a better parent for your biological baby and your biological children. I mean, we had the talks about when is the talk to talk about the condoms, when is the talk about when the boys are doing their private stuff, what is not, what is too much, is it wrong, is it not? I mean, subject matters were normalized so we can talk about it. And I have no problem sometimes it's table talk. Hey, what, I mean, I'm not going to, this is really between my boys and I, but we have such an open relationship, and I believe they come to me and not someone else because I made it safe for them that they can talk about these things. But if I wouldn't have had that foster care training, I'm not so sure if I would have been confident to go to those kind of subject matters that really help my children.
All right. Well, listen, let me take a look into how we can make that foster training available to all the parents, because I think we all struggle with similar questions that you just talked about. Louis, we've been talking for a very long time, and I haven't even touched upon the last subject, the Dancing with the Stars, except for a little question about Kelly. First of all, I wanted to thank you because you are the one responsible for me and Ali getting on the show. I remember we had lunch one day after one of the coaching sessions. You were our coach, and you told us that the Strictly Come Dancing show comes to US, and would we be interested? I don't know if you were already on the show, if you were already contacted by the producers or not, but you were the person that told us about the show, and I think we just sent out our stuff and went for the audition. So thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. And yes, so I think it was with you guys end of February, early March of 2005, and I had just got the call from Joe Sunker. You remember Joe?
Of course.
He called me from England because the English professionals only knew me in the United States. So they gave them my number. And then, of course, Joe asked me, do you know of any more dancers? And then when I was with you, pretty much that same month, I right away, of course, have you looked at yourself in the mirror? And I'm like, eye candy, and you are good people. I mean, you're great. You're warm-hearted people, and I knew that it would be a slam dunk.
That we are also. You knew that we are also done with the competitive ballroom dancing. We always had doubts, and we were at this point of our career where we were looking to either get out or transition, and we didn't quite know what's out there. That's the thing about ballroom dancing that I wanted to touch upon, that a lot of people that are in it, extremely talented people and extremely skillful, and I absolutely admire them. They are in the bubble of this competitive dancing, and they don't see much outside of it. And I feel like for me and Alec, the show opened a whole new world. You, I feel, experienced some of this world a little bit earlier. You mentioned about your Broadway show, but let's stick to Dancing with the Stars first.
May I share something about what you just said? So when I shared earlier that Rude saw something in my eyes that I was done, by this time I was your coach, and I could tell that you guys were in that same spot as I was while dancing with Joanna Lunis. And you have always, both of you were very grounded, realistic, but also I knew, especially with Alec, his passion was always business. So it was the business of dance, but really he had a whole different career in mind, which, by the way, right now he's living to the fullest. Am I correct or what?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
So, and then Dancing with the Stars, I don't even know, and this is to all the viewers, I don't know, we're doing this in front of all of you guys. I don't even know if Dancing with the Stars was something Alec was too passionate about. For me, I knew for you, it was your outlet, because you were never really the competitor. You were more about the art of dance and how it made you personally feel.
Yeah,
and
I was all
your
about
brother-in-law, however, was more the competitive dancer, and you were more about the dance itself. And I thought, well, what better way to put that on TV? Put you on 100%. TV. And then, so yeah, no, it's great.
But either way, Dancing with the Stars was a stepping stone in both of our careers, because I don't think Alec would believe he can go to a business school and get into Stanford if not Dancing with the Stars. It was just a stage in our career, very important, very useful. So with Dancing with the Stars, I have let me move on to the listeners' questions. So first of all, you came back to I'm going to put several questions in one. Some of the people were asking me in different forms about the season 31, 32. So you came back after a very long break to season 31 and then did not come back to season 32. My listeners would like to know the circumstances and how did you feel about it?
Well, how did I feel about coming back after, I believe, 6 years of not being back on? I thought the ship sailed. I'm done with Dance with the Stars. And then I got the call from the casting director and co-executive producer, Dina Katz, while I was on a teaching trip. We have a partner for you. What? Apparently, Cheryl Ladd, she would only do it if I were her partner. So she requested me, and of course, I wasn't going to say no. I had met Cheryl Ladd, so I knew Cheryl Ladd, and I had an amazing time with her. Being back in the ballroom, I was fresh. Now, I also had a little bit of a goal for myself, a personal goal. Cheryl, I believe, was the oldest pro who is 12 years younger than I am. I had a goal, and that was to show all these pros. I ain't done yet. I might have been gone for 6 years, but don't forget, I own a dance fitness company. I do a lot of fitness. And oh my gosh, did I feel good? But ultimately, that season with the pros, young and old, or senior or a junior, we had an amazing time. There was a lot of fun bickering going on, and I can take it. And we just had a fantastic time. And of course, that I was Cheryl Burke's partner as her retirement dance. You know, we worked on that for weeks. So it was lovely. That season was just amazing. Was I a little disappointed that I wasn't back in season 32? Yeah, you're always disappointed because I love doing the show. Absolutely love doing the show. But it was good. I probably had to say no anyway because of personal circumstances in my household that I am not yet willing to talk about because it's very close to home. But I do hope that by the end of August that I will be part of the show. But I am short. So if the celebrities are tall, then I'm already out. And, you know, whether it is that they only want younger pros, well, it goes to show you that they don't, because I was back 2 years ago and I'm 51. I was 49 and a half when I did the show. So, but it was wonderful to be back. And I love me some Cheryl Burke and Ladd.
And Ladd. Well, listen, do you have a minute for last one?
Yes, last one.
For the viewers to understand how the show works, because you and we never won the show. And Cheryl Burke in her interview asked me about it. I told her that, listen, the show is a lot of luck. As you say, it's what height are your celebrities? What other celebrities are on the season? There's incredible amount of luck. And if I stick to the show long enough, eventually I would get that guy that's really good. I already got a few of them. There would be no one better that season and we would win. Do you think that's the case? Why you never got that trophy, although you are so much more accomplished as a dancer than pretty much, I would say, most professional dancers that have been on the show?
Of course, I could say many things, but I'm going to stick with me. Why have I not won the show ever? Well, look at my celebrity partners. Many of them have either never danced before or they are not very experienced in dance. But I asked for that. The show knows I don't care if I don't get a dancer because I believe the show is about taking someone that has never danced before. And then it's on us, the journey on making them dancers in front of our eyes. So even though I was third with Kelly Osbourne, in my opinion, she won the whole dang thing because we had the audience on our side. And the effect that that journey had on the people, to me, that was the Mirabel Trophy right there. However, All-Star season, I think I had the best dancer in my hands, who also developed into a beautiful ballroom dancer, because that was my goal with
Are you talking
Sabrina
about
Bryan.
Sabrina Bryan?
Sabrina Bryan. Sorry, just to finish up with Sabrina, that was actually at 3/10. Then 2 weeks in a row, the points accumulated. She had 60 out of 60 and got eliminated. That hurt because I believed she was the best dancer. But this is the note to any fan of the show: just because someone gets tense, it doesn't make them safe. That's one thing that is true. Now, have there been times that I have thought that the producers put the winners in other pro dancers' hands? Absolutely. And I'm even willing to say, because I would be hypocrite if I wouldn't, sometimes with Derek, I wondered, okay, they're giving him the winners up front. And I mean, when I had Paula Dean and he had Bindi Irwin, I knew, okay, how can I even try? But it, to me, I've never complained about it. I'm not complaining about it now because, and we can also not blame Derek or Mark or Val, because they did not make that decision. The producers did. So any pro that is complaining about, well, I should get this or I should get that, well, then don't do the show. It's that simple. But it's frustrating. Sometimes it's frustrating. You and I both know that it's sometimes frustrating when 2-3 months, seasons in a row that you get eliminated early and someone else gets the better partners. Of course, it's frustrating, but then don't sign up to do the show. That's what I tell myself.
It's television, it's showbiz. The rules are brutal, and hurt feelings don't matter. Louis, thank you so much for your time. Run, pick up your son. I am going to post links to all your social media and
please do,
and to your podcast too. Guys, please tune in. It's fantastic. Louis, thank you so much for sharing your heart, for sharing your knowledge with the viewers. And maybe I'll talk to you soon again, because I didn't even touch on half of the stuff I wanted to talk to you.
Why don't you join me on my podcast, or we do it again and we ask each other questions? How about it?
Oh gosh, Louis, I hate talking about myself. I'm much more prefer talking about you.
Well, if you ask me, I should be able to ask you.
I will come on, 100%. You have
Awesome.
my yes anytime.
Thank you for this opportunity. And I do have to run. I have to pick up Daniel from school in 4 minutes, and it takes me 15. So bye.
Sorry,
thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Danceology podcast. Please be sure to rate and review this episode. If you have questions or comments, you can email us at danceologypodcast@gmail.com. We are also on Instagram and Facebook at Danceology Podcast and available anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening.
Metacortex Publishing hopes that you've enjoyed this presentation.
Please take a moment to listen to some other podcast offerings from Metacortex Publishing.
A quest is a search for something. And every week, the Quest podcast will show you how we know what we know through interviews with people that have incredible stories of dedication and perseverance. I'm your host, Todd Fisher. Join me in this thought-provoking and inspiring podcast of discovery. Find us anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Hi everybody, I'm Amber Rose, the religious hippie, and I host the podcast A Catholic's Perspective. Join me every 2 weeks as I release episodes targeted towards helping young Catholics navigate their ever-changing secular world while staying strong in their faith. Whether you are a Catholic or not, all are welcome here. So if this is something that interests you, feel free to tune in. You can find A Catholic's Perspective on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. I hope to see you there. Bye!
Hi, I'm Father Daniel Duplantis, a Catholic priest, martial artist, and host of the Karate Priest podcast. Have you ever wondered what the church teaches about different topics? Are you a martial arts enthusiast or just someone who wants to learn more about martial arts? I'd like to invite you to join me and many guests on my podcast as we cover topics of faith, everyday living, and martial arts on the Karate Priest podcast.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. Please be sure to rate and review this episode. This podcast is produced by Todd Fisher and Anthony Smith and is distributed by Metacortex Publishing. This podcast is copyright. Any previously trademarked or copyright content is used by permission. Information and opinions stated in this podcast should not be construed as medical advice. Please be sure to visit the official website for Metacortex Publishing at metacortexpublishing.com or find us on social media for other unique content.